1. The stolen identity. Sarah, a diligent college student, lived a relatively quiet life. She was diligent about her online privacy, using complex passwords and avoiding suspicious websites. One sunny afternoon, as she was preparing for her final exams, she received an email notification on her laptop. The sender's address was a string of random characters, but what alarmed her was the subject line, "Your secrets revealed." With a sense of dread, she opened the email. To her horror, it contained a chilling message. "Sarah, we know everything about you, your home address, your family members, your friends. We have your secrets, and we're watching your every move. Pay us 5 bitcoins, or your life will crumble. You have 48 hours to comply." Her heart raced as she read the message repeatedly. Panic set in, and she couldn't fathom how anyone could have access to such personal information. She called her best friend, Rachel, to share her distress. "Rachel, Sarah, calm down. It might be a hoax, just some internet prankster trying to scare you." But Sarah couldn't shake off the fear. She contacted the local police, and they traced the email's origins, which led to a maze of proxy servers and encrypted connections. The authorities could do little to help. As the hours passed, Sarah received more threatening messages, each one more sinister than the last. The clock ticked down to the deadline, and Sarah had no choice but to seek help from cybersecurity experts. They discovered that her computer had been compromised through a previously unknown vulnerability in her operating system. Her webcam had been remotely activated, and pictures of her in her room were included in the threats. Sarah's family decided to move temporarily to a secure location while the investigation continued. She was advised to avoid using any digital devices that could be exploited by the hackers. The following days were filled with paranoia and uncertainty. Every passing car and stranger on the street seemed like potential threats. As the investigation dragged on, it became apparent that the cybercriminals were professionals who had covered their tracks well. Sarah and her family were in a constant state of anxiety, wondering if their lives would ever return to normal. 2. The mystery game. Mike, an avid gamer and tech enthusiast, spent his evenings immersed in the world of online gaming. He had a knack for discovering hidden gems and sharing them with his online friends. One evening, as he browsed a gaming forum he frequented, he came across a peculiar thread with the title, "The Black Arcade Beyond Reality." Intrigued by the mysterious title and a few cryptic comments, Mike clicked on the thread. The original poster claimed to have stumbled upon an obscure underground game known as the Black Arcade. It was whispered to be accessible only through the deep web, with no official website or marketing. The few brave souls who had ventured into the game's digital labyrinth reported bizarre puzzles, disturbing imagery, and an unsettling sense of unease. Mike, fueled by curiosity, began researching how to access the Black Arcade. He found obscure forums and encrypted links that eventually led him to the game's download page. It required a specialized browser and a list of instructions he followed meticulously. It felt like he was delving into an online urban legend, one that both terrified and fascinated him. As he launched the game, he was greeted with a stark black screen and a haunting electronic soundtrack that sent shivers down his spine. The game's premise was simple: solve puzzles to progress through a series of increasingly eerie and surreal environments. Mike couldn't resist the challenge. Hours turned into days as he became engrossed in the Black Arcade. The puzzles were unlike anything he had encountered in conventional games, mind-bending, cryptic, and often disturbing. The images and sounds grew increasingly unsettling, blurring the line between reality and the game. Mike's sleep-deprived state made it difficult to distinguish between his virtual experiences and the real world. Strange occurrences began happening around him. Objects seemed to move on their own, and he heard whispers when no one was present. He became paranoid, feeling as though he was being watched, but he couldn't tear himself away from the game. It had an inexplicable hold on him. One night, as he neared the end of the Black Arcade, the game presented him with a choice that seemed to echo in his mind: leave or continue. In his sleep-deprived and disoriented state, he chose continue. The game's visuals grew more chaotic, and the whispers in his room intensified. That was the last anyone heard from Mike. His online friends and family couldn't reach him, and his apartment was eerily empty. It was as though he had vanished into the digital abyss of the Black Arcade. 3. The hidden market. Emily, a tech-savvy young woman, had always been curious about the dark and hidden corners of the internet. She'd heard rumors about black markets, where anything could be bought or sold, from illegal drugs to stolen data, and even the most unthinkable services. Emily's curiosity got the best of her one fateful night when she decided to explore these mysterious realms of the deep web. After hours of using Tor and carefully following online guides, Emily finally found herself on a hidden marketplace known as the Obsidian Bazaar. It was a chilling place filled with listings for illicit goods and services. As she browsed, she was both fascinated and horrified by what she found. Drugs, counterfeit passports, weapons, and even offers of assassinations. Among the many listings, one caught her attention. It was a small quantity of a controlled substance that piqued her curiosity. On a whim, she placed an order, using cryptocurrency to remain anonymous. It felt like a harmless experiment, a way to test the legitimacy of the marketplace. She never expected the package to actually arrive. Weeks went by without incident, and Emily started to believe that her actions had gone unnoticed. But one evening, as she returned home from work, she noticed an unmarked package on her doorstep. Her heart sank as she picked it up, realizing it was the very package she had ordered from the Obsidian Bazaar. Panic washed over her as she considered the implications of what had just happened. As she opened the package, she discovered that it contained exactly what she had ordered. It was a terrifying realization. Her experiment had led to undeniable proof that these black markets were not just myths. They were real and operational. She felt like she was in over her head. That night, as she logged back into her computer, a message appeared on her screen. It was a menacing figure wearing a hood, and the words were typed slowly and deliberately, saying, "You've been traced." Her heart raced as she realized the gravity of the situation. She had not been as anonymous as she thought. The message continued, demanding a hefty payment to protect her identity and ensure her silence. It was a ransom she couldn't afford, and the fear that had been lingering in the background now consumed her every thought. Desperate, Emily reached out to a cybersecurity expert she had met at a tech conference. Together, they traced the message back to its source and discovered that the black market was run by a highly organized criminal syndicate. The noose was tightening around Emily, and she had become entangled in a web of criminality she couldn't escape. With the help of the cybersecurity expert, Emily went to the authorities. A complex and dangerous operation was launched to dismantle the criminal syndicate behind the Obsidian Bazaar. Emily's cooperation came at a great personal risk, but she felt it was the only way to escape the clutches of the dark web. The hidden market serves as a chilling reminder that the deep web harbors very real dangers, and what starts as curiosity can quickly spiral into a nightmare of consequences. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on notifications. Write which story you like the most in the comments.